I'm sorry?
Do you plan to continue the work of the task force?
We do not plan on, they're kind of tired and worn out. No, they've given their time. I think if I'm sure that they're all willing to come back in if we need them to do that. I think what we need to do now is to get this out, disseminate it. And if we have problems in the future, I'm sure these folks will be willing to come back in and meet again and revisit some of these issues. You'll see in here there's a few recommendations as far as the legislature. That was not the focus of this, frankly, but there are some recommendations in here concerning the legislature, which will be, making sure the legislature has the benefit of these folks listening. This was not something that, I sat in every meeting, told them what to do. We basically set this up, recruited them, and they went and they did it.
Just for clarity's sake, you said that this document is available and you encourage them to take a look at it. Does that mean that it's not mandatory? Or
we have no power to make this under current Ohio law mandatory. What I'm hoping is the schools will adopt this as best practices. If the legislature wants to make something mandatory, they can do that. But our goal was to get this out, get it out fairly quickly, and let the schools have this information.
I have one more. You mentioned that being mindful of local considerations, you wanted to see some consistencies. Can you talk about what things should match district to district?
What things? What? I'm sorry.
You had said that you wanted people to make modifications, but you're mindful of local considerations.
Right.
What things do you think could be consistent district to district, regardless of their locality?
Well, we think that, when they turn in a plan, it needs to look like this. When they do a floor plan, it needs to look like this. It needs to be consistent throughout the state. When you get into some of the details and the relationship between the local police and the local sheriff, those things they might want to adapt based on their need. Where's the school located? How far is it from, are you in a village with your local village police? Are you with the sheriff? All of these things are different in every school district. And so they would certainly might want to adapt those. But I think it gives them a real, best practices, really. And there's some things in there I just don't know why they wouldn't do. I don't know why they wouldn't follow a basic floor plan so that we have uniformity across the state. Been put together by everybody, the best minds that we can put together to come up with this. They ought to follow.
Is this information only available to law enforcement? Can the average person call this information up? For instance, if somebody is planning a shooting, can they use this?
No, it's available only to law enforcement. We've had this question, and we're not changing that. And that's been on the books since 1980, what year?
I think
80 something. I don't know what it is. But, so we're not changing that. This is law enforcement sensitive. It's available on OLEG to law enforcement officers, the floor plan of the school. And again, we're not changing that. That's been the law. What we're simply making sure is that the information is usable for law enforcement and is consistent for law enforcement.
Other parts of the state can sometimes be a bit parochial in their view of Columbus in terms of things that the Columbus is asking people to do. Are you finding that local communities are being responsive, as you say, in your sort of law enforcement expertise, or that you'd like them to make some changes, that the people seem willing to move towards a pretty consistent level of quality?
Yeah, I don't think people have had in the past the opportunity to have this information. It's been piecemeal. It has been inconsistent. It has been, maybe they get it, maybe they don't. So we're going to disseminate this out. Pam, how is this going to be disseminated? What's the plan?
Okay, I want to make one correction. The school law was in 2007, so I'm not sure if there's something before that. This is on our web, so if you go to our web, you'd be able to see a web page, and you can click off and get everything that's on there, our recommendations, the PowerPoint, the plan. You can see all of this. And then there's another part of our web you can actually click on to listen to the presentation with the voiceover. That's the PowerPoint. So it's all on our web.
And we will be sending letters out summarizes all this and shows them how this is available. I think it's important, frankly, for parents to ask their school, are you looking at this stuff? Are you following the best practices? Each community's got to make that own decision, but again, that would be something if I was a parent, I would want to know. And again, many schools are doing a great job. Every school's trying. We're just trying to be here to help them with the experts that we put together about how you really do it, how you do everything you can to protect. I want to say something about Pam. Pam Gordon is with our office and trained with our office, and she really, from our office point of view, headed this up, put this together, and she's lived with this for a long time, so she's done a very, very, very good job. Anybody else?
You said you were working with OPD as far as putting the plan to do easier. Do you have a time frame? Is that like next week, end of the month? When do you kind of guess this?
Well, my staff would tell you, if you ask them that for any question, that it's always 2 weeks ago with me. So I wish that this was done, but we hope any day it'll be done. That's our goal.
Do the schools also have an agreement with law enforcement that certain doors are accessible? Do police departments have ability to enter certain doors of a school building?
May I ask if my law enforcement team want to respond to that?
All school
Why don't you
buildings.
stand up, give your name.
Hi.
Stand over here. Give your name.
Yes, sir. My name is Officer Sarah Rath. I'm with the Genoa Township Police Department in Galena, Ohio. I'm first vice president for the Ohio School Resource Officers Association, and it was a pleasure to serve on this task force. It is a fantastic plan, and to answer your question, every school secures their doors to limit access to the public. My own school, for instance, they have one way in and one way out for parents and public.
But can you get in? Are there certain doors you can get in that the public cannot get in?
Well, I'm a school resource officer, and I, of course, have keys to my building. Other law enforcement officers, if they're going to enter for an emergency response, we do have access to keys for that, so that would not be an issue.